Welcome to Orange Coast Unitarian Universalist Church. My name is Jolynn, and I am your worship associate today. I am joined by our minister, Reverend Sian Wiltshire. Also here are Steve Morihiro and Susan Shaw, our co-music directors, and Danielle Lewis, our director of religious education for children and youth. We all welcome you this morning. Now, some of you have been coming here for decades, some of you for days, and some of you are new faces for us all to get to know. However you happened upon us this fine, warm Southern California day, we are glad you are here. I want to extend a special welcome to our visitors. If you are seeking a spiritual home, we hope that you will find it here. We are a community of many different identities and beliefs. We are bound together not by dogmas, beliefs, creeds, or fears, but rather a covenant to create a welcoming, inclusive, and loving community. We need not think alike to love alike. Now, today in particular, our visitors and our desire to include you in our future is paramount. We have just moved into this lovely sanctuary. This has been years in progress, but today is our first service with our donor recognition board on the back wall. I'm so proud of everybody. And our brand new, spanking new chalice right here up front. This is our open house to the community at large, and we have tables set up in the courtyard you may have already seen to invite you to understand some of the things that we do here and the ways in which we would be thankful for your contribution of your time and your talents. In the spirit of building this community, let's recognize the many volunteers who have helped to put this service together. As you can see, for all of you, we need you. It's a lot of good people. Thank you, roomers. We invite you to silence your cell phones. And for you Zoomers, we inspire you to say hello in the chat. Where's our camera? Oh, there it is. It's the first time up here. Hi. As we worship today, let us acknowledge that our church property rests on the sacred ancestral homelands of the Ahachiman and Tongva peoples who seek justice and responsible stewardship. And we begin our worship every time for new folks. We begin our worship with the lighting of our chalice. And this morning, we'd like to invite Tony and Carrie Adams, who are our newest members, to come up here and light the chalice. They moved here from Massachusetts about 4 years ago to be with family. They come from a Catholic background. Their first experience here was through our good friend Steve, who met them and invited them, and they were here for a whole 6 weeks before they became members. So go ahead and light your chalice. Yes, thank you. And we know how to get them involved, don't we? So let us begin the worship by saying all together, unison affirmation, love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law, to dwell together in peace, to seek truth in love, and to help one another. This we affirm together. You guys did great. You didn't knock it over. That was awesome. All right. Please rise in body or spirit, and join us in singing our opening song.
Though below me I feel no motion, standing on this mountains and plains, far away from the rolling ocean, still my dry land heart can say, sailor's song. I was born upon the fathoms, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Reverend Sian Wiltshire. Yes, that is pronounced Sian, S-I-A-N. It's a Gaelic spelling, if you all didn't know. So this morning, I want to welcome everyone. I see a lot of new faces, and I'm so grateful that you're here, because we think that we're just such a wonderful, warm community, and I want you to experience that. And so today, we're going to have a lot of fun, hopefully some laughter going on. I'm going to start off with a little riff off of a comedy routine. Y'all know, if you remember from the 80s and 90s, Jeff Foxworthy, he did the "You Might Be a Redneck If," right? Okay. So I've got my own version of "You Might Be a Unitarian Universalist If," okay? But I'm going to need your help. So when I say something, you respond with "You might be a Unitarian Universalist." All right. If you think everyone, and I mean everyone, should be welcome at a church, if your child comes home from religious education and explains to you the difference between humanism, Buddhism, and paganism, you might be a Unitarian Universalist. If you believe in deeds more than creeds, you might be a Unitarian Universalist. If you've ever felt the need to debate theologically or politically with the minister after the service, you might be a Unitarian Universalist. If you see the rainbow flag and you think, my loved ones and or my values are supported here, whether or not you are LGBT or Q. You might be a Unitarian Universalist. If you think that the Holy Trinity is reduce, reuse, recycle. If you've ever ditched a belief system because it was bad for your soul or your sense of humor, you might be a Unitarian Universalist. If you love learning about other religions and other worldviews, you might be a Unitarian Universalist. If you read ahead on the hymns to make sure it agrees with your own theology, you might be a Unitarian Universalist. And if you believe that diversity, equity, and inclusion is just more than woke rhetoric, but part of your worldview, you might be a Unitarian Universalist. And finally, if you heard the words this morning that Jolynn said that we need not think alike to love alike, you might be a Unitarian Universalist. Because being a UU isn't about having all the same beliefs. It's about showing up side by side to create a community where love is bigger than differences and joy is stronger than fear. And if that sounds good to you, you might be a Unitarian Universalist. Amen.
Today's Time for All Ages is called The Garden. Once upon a time, there was a little town, and in the very middle of the town was a big empty lot. Everyone dreamed of turning that lot into a big, beautiful garden. So one day, the mayor called a meeting and said, "Let's all bring something to plant. Then we'll all have the most wonderful garden in the world." The next morning, the townspeople showed up carrying seeds. Miss Rivera brought tomato seeds. "Tomatoes are the best," she said. "Everyone will love them." Mr. Chen brought carrot seeds. "Carrots are the best," he declared, "crunchy and sweet." Little Lamar brought sunflower seeds. "Sunflowers will make us happy," he said. And so on it went. Beans, cucumbers, peppers, pumpkins, everyone planted what they loved the most. They watered, they waited, but when the plants began to sprout, something strange had happened. The tomatoes tangled with the sunflowers. The pumpkins sprawled across the carrots. Everyone argued about which plant should get the most water and sunlight. Then the garden looked like a big, messy fight, not a place of beauty. Finally, people got so frustrated that they stopped coming. The weeds grew taller and the sunflowers, and the once dreamed of garden became a patch of thorns. One afternoon, Grandma Rosa walked past the weedy lot. She sighed and shook her head. Then she called the people of the town together. "My dears," she said, "do you know why the garden will not grow?" "Because everyone argued," said Miss Rivera. "Because nobody listened," said Mr. Chen. "Because we all wanted our favorite things added," admitted Lamar. Grandma Rosa nodded. "Exactly. A garden isn't made beautiful because it's filled of only one kind of plant. A garden is beautiful because many different plants grow together, sharing the soil, the sun, and the rain. What makes it a garden is the togetherness, and we need to love the differences." The next day, the mayor called another meeting. "Let's plant again, but this time we will plant where everything goes. We'll make room for each plant to grow." So everyone came back to the empty lot. Together they pulled the weeds, tilled the soil, and replanted the seeds, this time with care. Tomatoes here, carrots there, sunflowers along the back where they could grow and stand up tall and proud. Pumpkins at the edge where they could sprawl, herbs in the middle where their scents would mingle. One day, the townspeople came back, not just to tend their own favorite plants, but to take care of the whole garden. They shared tools, water, and laughter, and slowly the garden grew. By late summer, the town had the most beautiful garden anyone had ever seen, with red tomatoes, golden sunflowers, crunchy carrots, sprawling pumpkins. It was gorgeous. At the harvest festival, Grandma Rosa raised her glass of lemonade and said, "This garden is our town, and it's like life. It's not only easy to grow together, but sometimes we bump into each other. Sometimes we get tangled in each other's way. And sometimes if we don't listen, we make space, we share, we care. Then we grow into something more beautiful than we ever could alone." And from now on, whenever someone new came to town and asked, "What makes this town so special?" the people would smile and say, "In our garden, we don't all grow alike, but we grow together." I invite you to sing our children out with us.
This is me when I first walked into my first UU church. For those of you who may not be aware, I did not grow up in a UU church. I didn't grow up in any church whatsoever. my father was a staunch atheist, and he thought that church was kind of the opium of the masses, right? And my mother was kind of New Age, but she was very scholarly, so for her, it was sort of like this anthropological study to go to a church. I remember one time we were living in Alaska in a small village, and the only church that was there was a Russian Orthodox church. So one week we went to the Easter Russian Orthodox service, and then the next week we went to a sweat lodge because it was with the indigenous people there. And it was because she was like, well, you need to have these experiences. Okay. And of course, I also grew up with a lot of what you just saw on TV, right? I mean, I was kind of the child of the 70s and 80s and the televangelists, give us all your money so that we can have a jet. It was like one of those things where I always thought that these people were like scammers and, just wanted to take your money and all that sort of thing. And I also thought of them as fairly hypocritical, right? They would say one thing but then do another. Yes, we welcome all people unless you're LGBT or Q. Then, you're second-class citizens. Or they had so much pomp and circumstance that I was like, why are they doing that? They're burning incense. I don't understand what's going on here. So basically, when I walked into my first Unitarian Universalist church, I came with a lot of suspicion. Yeah. When are they going to ask me for my entire savings? Oh, sure, you say I can believe whatever I want, but really? Really? I'm not sure. Now, why is that person so friendly to me? What do they want? Yeah. But then nothing really happened. I mean, they passed the plate, but I was like, that's all it takes to run a church? Huh, okay. I was sort of like, okay, they never asked me for little Johnny's college fund. I kept waiting for this other shoe to drop, that something was going to happen. They were going to prove to me that, yes, of course, this was a church just like any other one, that all of it was a hypocritical lie. Well, it's been 20 years, and I'm still waiting. Now, this doesn't mean that we're perfect, right? We are not. We are made up of human beings. But it's true. We do our best to try to welcome absolutely everyone, and that you can kind of, believe whatever you want. I mean, okay, you can't believe in human or child sacrifice or animal sacrifice or something like that. Not all behaviors are welcome, but all people are. You can believe if you're a pagan, a Buddhist, you can be a Hindu, an agnostic, a Christian, you can be atheist, you can be whatever, all of the above. We have in this church an atheist pagan. You can believe whatever you want. There she is. Yeah, right? Now, you could be anywhere on any spectrum, right, that you want. And it's kind of mind-blowing when you think about it. And I remember when I was looking for a church, I was sort of like, boy, I just wish I could find a place where everybody is welcome, And I think my mistake was that I was the only one who ever thought of that idea, right? Because there's actually a whole bunch of people who thought of this idea. And in fact, Unitarian Universalism doesn't have a one founder to it. It's founded by the people who all came together and wanted to create a place like that. So, I want to invite you all into a time of what we do this every Sunday, a little bit of a meditation. And it's just a time for you to sort of think about what I just said. And I often give a little prompt if you want to think about it. So this morning, I want you to consider, were there any biases or preconceived notions about what you thought a Unitarian Universalist church would be when you first came here, whether it was today or years and years ago? And even if you've been a lifelong UU, and there actually are lifelong UUs here, what are your expectations when you walk into a Unitarian Universalist church? So, all right, I want to invite you, if you want to take a few deep breaths, get a little settled in your chair. If you want to soften or close your eyes, you're invited to do so. And for just a moment, to think about that. What kind of preconceived notions or ideas do you have? What makes you uncomfortable? What makes you comfortable? And if I was that person who walked into this church today with all my suspicions and biases, how might you make me feel welcome? When you're ready, I invite you to join Susan in singing.
Be ours a religion which like sunshine goes everywhere. Its temple or space, its shrine the good heart, its creed all truth, its ritual works of love. Be ours a religion which like sunshine goes everywhere. Its temple or space, its shrine the good heart, its creed all truth, its ritual works of love.
Has this ever happened to you? Like you're at a party or you're at a checkout counter at a line somewhere, and somehow your church comes up and you say, well, I'm a Unitarian Universalist, and they go, what's that? And you freeze. Sort of in panic, like, okay, like I'm always thinking, how much time do they have? Let's see, what should I say? Should I mention our Christian roots or that we're interfaith? But wait, that leaves out the atheists. How do I explain all of this? And by this time, they're like, okay, yeah. I mean, it's sort of easy, right? If you're Christian, you can say, well, we save souls. If you're Jewish, really doesn't need much of an explanation. People know. Buddhism, you might mention meditation and compassion. But when people ask about Unitarian Universalists, it doesn't really help to say, it's complicated. Sometimes I get carried away, right? I give a whole lecture on the church history, you know, and then they're like, I see someone across the room that I'd like to talk to. Yeah, the truth is that Unitarian Universalism has always been a little hard to explain. I mean, even our name is a mouthful, Unitarian Universalist. I can always tell a new person because they're like, Universalist, yeah, don't worry, you're in good company. It's not exactly catchy, right? And it doesn't fit easily on a bumper sticker. We've been accused of being a religion where you can believe anything that you want. Not exactly true, like I said, not all behaviors that go with some beliefs are welcome. But you can kind of see how people get that impression. You know, some people say, well, you could believe in a doorknob. Well, okay, come on, use your brain. You know, maybe not that, right? But we don't have a list of things you're supposed to believe or a creed that you're supposed to follow. So I am going to try today to explain Unitarian Universalism, also known as UUism, because that's way more catchy. Let's see, so let me give you the long version first, okay, with a little humor, and then we'll get to the short versions. I'm going to give you some ideas of how you might actually say it. All right, so let's see here. So Unitarian Universalism grew out of two Christian denominations. They were very liberal denominations, okay? This is my history lecture, but you're not allowed to leave, okay? The first was Unitarianism, right, which emphasized the oneness of God, right, versus Trinitarian, right? So Catholics are Trinitarian, they believe in the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. We believe that Jesus, or the Unitarians believe that Jesus was really, really great and special, but not co-equal with God. They used the Bible they were actually Bible thumpers in many ways. So let's see here. So the idea was that then that all of us were children of God, not just Jesus, all right? And the theology had been around for about 2,000 years, but it wasn't made into a denomination until 1825 here in the United States. And the second denomination was Universalism, Unitarian Universalism, right? Okay, I know, pretty simple, straightforward. All right, that emphasized God's universal love. So back in the 19th century, this was everybody is saved, right? That is that God's love was so great that no one was sent to hell, which didn't exist. It was a theology actually that went back to the beginning of Christianity, but it wasn't made into an actual denomination until 1793. And the joke in the 19th century about these two radical faith traditions was the Universalists believe that God is too good to damn them, and the Unitarians believe they're too good to be damned. All right. Now, both the denominations were totally, like I said, totally radical for the day. I mean, today we sort of go, what's the big deal, right? But back then, that was huge. Now, one rejected, as I said, equating Jesus with God, and the other claimed that all were saved. Now, over time, they found out that they had a lot in common because they began to realize, as we became more and more globalized, that Unitarianism and Universalism had something in common, the unity of God and the love of God, right? And that those two things were the same. So, in 1961, they merged together and to form the oh-so-original name, Unitarian Universalists. Yeah, I'm like, come on. We couldn't come up with a more fun name? But anyway, all right. This is one of the reasons why if you see on our chalice that we always have two circles, they represent both of the two denominations coming together. Okay, well, we no longer primarily define ourselves as Christian. We hold on to those two radical affirmations that there is unity in diversity and that love is stronger than fear. So what do we believe today? Well, as I said, it sort of depends on who you ask. Some of us find inspiration still in Christianity. Some in Buddhism, some in humanism, paganism, Judaism, Hinduism, or none of the above. We are agnostics, theists, atheists, mystics, and seekers. And somehow, it works. It's amazing, because at the heart of our faith is not a set of doctrines. It's something we call a covenant. Okay, that's a fancy religious word that simply means a promise. And no, we don't write it in blood, or you have to give your firstborn, or anything like that. It just says we're going to treat each other well, to walk together no matter what our differences are, with love and respect. Or to put it in more simple terms, we need not think alike to love alike. And this is David Francis, or Frank David, was a famous Unitarian, and this was one of his sayings. Okay, so to help us articulate this shared covenant, this promise that we're going to not think alike, but we can love alike, we have these things here. So these are what we call our shared values, okay? These are not creeds. They don't tell us what we have to believe. Instead, they're a way of saying what we do, generally speaking, have in common. They remind us of the deep commitment that ties us together, even with all of our differences. And if you notice, in the center of those 6 values, right, is one word: love. So we say we put love at the center. Now, of course, saying love at the center, isn't that sweet? Such a nice little sentiment, right? But it's also really vague. Like, what do we mean by that? So let me explain to you what we actually mean by that. Okay, so one, what do we mean by love? Well, first of all, love is our compass. We certainly try to look at this compass as much as we possibly can. You know, we don't have one sacred text or even a single creed telling us what to believe. Instead, we ask, what does love call us to do? And we can use this as individuals, and we can use this as a community. What does love call us to do? For us, love is more than a feeling. We don't mean romantic love or even just being kind. We mean the deep, active commitment for the well-being of others, particularly those who are the most vulnerable. It's also of the earth and of ourselves. The Catholics actually have a great word for this called agape. agape love. It's an unconditional, selfless love that desires the well-being of others. It's what calls us to work for sustainability. It forms our social justice, but it also calls us to sit at hospital bedsides and bring meals when people need it. So love is also, for us, inclusive. It means that no one is left outside the circle of care. You don't have to believe in the same things as me. You don't have to live like me. You don't even have to like me, but I'm really nice. But you still belong and you are still worthy of love. And love is what holds all of this diversity together. It's our binding agent in a way, right? Because we don't share all the same theology. Love is what keeps us in covenant with one another. Love is the spirit of this church. We say that every single Sunday. That's what we mean by this. It's like our, what do they call it, an agar, an oleo, something like binds us all together, right? It's what allows atheists and Christians and Buddhists and Seekers to sit side by side in worship, singing the same hymn, each in their own way, and still be united. And here's the thing about love for us. It is demanding. Putting love at the center isn't just about being nice, right? It's about being accountable. Sometimes love means telling the truth even when it's hard. Sometimes it means being challenged by people who see the world differently, and sometimes it means getting uncomfortable for the sake of growth. I call these AFGOs another effing growth opportunity. Yeah. So let me tell you what I mean by accountable. I'm going to give you an example. Yesterday we had a dedication, a wonderful dedication of this building. We had people here. Thank you. But I made a big mistake. We thanked everyone here except for certain people that I should have thanked. And I would like to thank them now. That is Craig Sperry, who chaired our sanctuary committee. Please stand up. And also his team of the whole sanctuary committee. Everybody who was on the committee, stand up, please. Thank you. So this is also sometimes like we have to admit when we're wrong, right? So love is not just a nice sentiment for us, it's our organizing principle. Around the center, we gather our values, our interdependence, equity, transformation, pluralism, generosity, and justice. And each of us might emphasize those different values at different times, but love is always at the center of what we do, or at least what we try to do. And if someone asks you then, what is Unitarian Universalism? You could say, for example, it's a faith where we put love at the center of everything we do. And you know you're going to get a little bit of an old eye roll with that, right? It's still a little bit vague and a little corny. So let's go back to our earlier practical problem. How do you explain Unitarianism at a party without needing a whiteboard and a PowerPoint presentation? So I'm going to give you a few options up here. You can take pictures with your phones if you can have up there with it. Hold on a second, I'm going to look on my phone. All right, here's some options for you. It's a church that doesn't tell you what to believe, but helps you grow spiritually. Another way, it's a community where people of many different beliefs and identities come together to care for each other. Amen. Thank you. It's a place where you find inspiration, hope, and healing as you work for justice in the world. Yeah. These are all different ways that you could think of to describe who we are in one sentence. Honestly, I usually have a bunch of one-liners, depending on who I'm talking to, because sometimes it's very different. But this is the easiest way I've found. But it's not, so it's not easy being a Unitarian Universalist, right? We don't have easy answers. We don't even have an easy, elevator speech. We don't have prescriptions or requirements. And I remember one time I was in a new member class. People wanted to know, more about Unitarian Universalism, and I was telling them a lot of this stuff. And there was this lovely man there who'd grown up Catholic. He was there because he'd married a Buddhist, and he wanted a place where they were both welcome. And I remember him sort of after I gave my little speech or whatever, and he said, so what am I supposed to believe? I just want to know what I'm supposed to do. And I was like, oh, honey. It's really a hard concept sometimes to understand that you're just welcome here as you are, right? Now, we do have pledge drives, and we ask people to give that because everybody sort of crowdsources everything here, but we ask you to give what you can. We're not asking you to give everything. We don't want it to hurt you or anything like that. But that's part of it, being a community. If you've ever been a part of a church, you know that. Okay, but this brings me to part 2, which is something I've struggled to articulate for a long time. When I was in seminary, still very much a new UU, I pretty much became a UU and then went to seminary. I just knew it was like, oh, this is it. This is the greatest thing. All right, so I went to a party, and this woman actually knew what Unitarian Universalism is. And she plopped herself down next to me, and she says, okay, so I know you're very into social justice and everything, but here's what I want to know. Okay, you do a lot of justice work, but I can do that with my friends. I can go to a protest on my own. I can go to join Amnesty International. Why would I join a Unitarian Universalist church? Well, yeah. I was sort of like, well, there's community. Yeah, but I have community with my friends. Okay. Yeah, I know, okay. So I stammered out some sort of answers, and I really felt like I knew instinctively there was a good reason. Why would you join a Unitarian Universalist church when you can? You can join Amnesty International or whatever it is that you would like to do. I couldn't articulate it well, but I've learned over the last 20 years, and I've learned from all of you what it means to belong to an intentional community. I would say this to her now. Yes, you can. Of course, do justice work without being part of a church. But what makes Unitarian Universalists unique is that it's not just that it works for justice. Of course, we try to do is that. A lot of people have their own thing. But it's about building a spiritual home. It's about creating a community where people care for one another in the ups and downs of life. It's about raising children in compassion and wonder. It's about practicing how to live in love, not just individually, but together. Because here's the thing that I believe most deeply. If you value diversity, then you value community. If you value diversity in all of its forms, you must value community, because it's only in an intentional community like a church that people of all kinds learn how to truly be with one another. A lot of people say they want a church of like-minded people. And I know what people mean when they say that. They want people who share similar values. But let's be honest, we don't all value the same thing in the same order or in the same way. We're not like-minded. Just go to a committee meeting and you will see all of the opinions that people have, right? What we're trying to do is something harder and holier. We are trying to love alike, to learn to be open, kind, and accepting and nurturing of our differences. And you cannot learn to love if you've never been challenged, if you only surround yourself with people who think just like you. Real love requires practice. It requires patience. It requires us to rub up against our differences, to make mistakes, to forgive, and to try again. And where else can you do to practice that? Seek it week after week, except in a community like this. And our world needs this practice right now, right? We're so polarized. So many people taking sides, and families are being torn apart. I know I certainly have a side, and I choose, but we've forgotten the gift of community. This is why so much, I think, is breaking down. We've forgotten the gift of community. It's basically that we need not think alike to love alike. That's why being part of a UU church, a congregation, matters. Not because it's easy, but because it's hard, because it stretches us, because it calls us to a deeper love And that is holy, holy work. You know, UUism is not a set of ideas, it's a lived practice of community. It's the experience of sitting next to someone in the pew you might vote differently from you, but who will bring you soup when you're sick. It's the experience of singing with someone who believes in God and someone who doesn't, and realizing that they both feel lifted up by the music. It's the experience of a child being taught by a teacher who sees their unique light, even if they don't share the same theology as you. This is what makes us different from joining a protest group or a book club. In this community, we're not just allies in a cause, we are companions on the soul's journey. We are companions on the soul's journey. So that's what I tell people. Why should I join a UU church? Because here we practice love. We practice it when it's easy. We practice when it's hard. We don't always succeed, but we try again and again and again. And the world needs communities like this, places where people can come together across differences and embody a love that is bigger than any one of us alone. That is Unitarian Universalism. That is who we are, and that's what we invite everyone to discover. So when someone asks you, what is Unitarian Universalism? You don't have to panic. You can smile. It's the community where we don't have to think alike to love alike. And why don't you join me on Sunday morning? See for yourself. If you have more questions, I'm going to be available after the church, but in the meantime, let us sing Come and Go With Me.
Please rise in body or spirit as you feel comfortable.
Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land where I'm found. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land where I'm bound. Where I'm bound. There'll be freedom in that land. There'll be freedom in that land. There'll be freedom in that land where I'm bound. There'll be freedom in that land. There'll be freedom in that land. There'll be freedom in that land where I'm bound. There will be justice in that land. There will be justice in that land. There will be justice in that land where I'm bound. There'll be justice in that land. There'll be justice in that land. There'll be justice in that land where I'm bound. There'll be singing in that land. There'll be singing in that land. There'll be singing in that land where I'm bound. There'll be singing in that land. There'll be singing in that land. There'll be singing in that land where I'm bound.
Oh, I like this new sanctuary. Unitarian Universalist congregations are fully self-supporting, meaning that members and friends raise all of the funds for the operating budget, ministries, and programs of this church, of which you will see there are many. We are ever grateful for your gifts of time, treasure, and talent. OCUC amplifies that spirit of generosity by sharing half of the plate that we receive with an organization that shares our values. This month, we are partnering with Rhea Elementary School here in Costa Mesa. We help with their robotics. And so I apologize, I was looking at my phone a little while ago because I wanted to get an update about where they are with that robotics. And If you want to, you can check out their Instagram page. They just had a big robotics festival. They had a wonderful time, and the kids are learning a lot. And it's stuff that isn't available at some of the other campuses across Orange County. This is something really special that we help these kids do. So there are multiple ways in which you can support the church and this organization. You can mail a check. You can go through our website. You can use an app called Vanco Mobile. If you're a roomer, you can use that good old basket as it's passed. Good old-fashioned thing. Some of us from other faiths understand the basket, yes? All the information is on our website should you need it. As always, thank you for your generosity.
Flash of hate and terror, in the sinful light of fear, there's a yearning deep in every soul, a longing to hear. Love has already won, just as sure as the day greets the morning sun. Love has already won. Be not afraid, love has already won. Will this violence break our spirits? Will this pain tear us apart? There's an answer deep in every soul. There's truth in our hearts. Love has already won, just as sure as the day greets the morning sun. Love has already won, be not afraid, love has already won. Let us rise in love and justice. Let us heed the prophet's call. May the faithfulness of every soul bring hope for us all. Love has already won, just as sure as the day greets the morning sun. Love has already won, be not afraid, love has already won. Be not afraid, love has already won. Love has already won.
Let us sing We Gather Together, a song that expresses our gratitude for all of the gifts that we share.
It's that time when everyone here is invited to honor the important events and people in our lives. And whether you are a member, a friend, a visitor, everyone, it's called Joys and Sorrows. It's a ritual we do every week. I'd like to invite Lori Kluge up here. She's one of my pastoral care team members, and she's going to help light the candles. And because the idea is if you've come here with something that you've held deeply in your heart, profound joy or sorrow, and you would like to embody that by lighting a candle, you're welcome to come forward here and do so. If you're a roomer, you come forward to light the candle, and if you'd like to share your joy or sorrow out with the community, you can write it out on a slip of paper. The ushers have little, what do you call them? Little slips of paper that they can have you write it out, and then simply hand it to me as you come forward. You can also do these beforehand as well. So if you're a Zoomer, hi Zoomers, everybody can say hello to our Zoomers over here, they can see you. Basically, we invite you to write your joy or sorrow in the chat, and then Lori will light a candle for you. So once the roomers are done lighting their candles, I invite, and I'll read all of the joys and sorrows out loud. Please come forward, and we'll do that. As music is played, I invite you to silently offer healing or celebration as you feel called and according to your own beliefs. Please come forward. All right, wow, I feel like I've got an entire, booklet going on here. This is awesome. All right, so I think Gabrielle, she kind of says it all for everybody. She lit a candle of joy. She said, for the chance to see many old friends who are here for the dedication and open house. And one of those friends who came down from Sonoma is Karen Kennedy. She lit a candle of joy. She said, this beautiful sanctuary for seeing so many beloved friends, for all that the Sperry's did for their hospitality in letting me stay with them. That was her candle of joy. And the other one who came visiting, she came all the way from Georgia. This is our very own Sarah Hunter. She said, I feel so much love for this, so much love for this community and our new sanctuary. Miss y'all. Yeah. All right, and Kathleen M., the president of our congregation, she lit a candle of joy, she said, for her son Drew, who will be having his 40th birthday this week. She said, I am so proud of the man he has become. Carol R., she lit a candle of joy. She said, how wonderful it is to have my dearest friend Spencer joining me today in church, and to see Wendy, our former intern in our service today as well. And Amelia and Aaron, they lit a candle of joy. They said, we spent the last 2 Sundays celebrating our 39th wedding anniversary and Amelia's retirement from Cal State LA in New York with family. Very nice. And Jacques and Elizabeth wrote 2 things about their son, which I love. It's basically the same thing, so I'm going to read one of these. I like this one. So they lit a candle of joy. It says, the Kilshower family joined the OCUUC community over 24 years ago to provide our growing family with a foundation in faith. Our eldest, Joel, was in utero when we first came, okay? And he will turn 23 on Wednesday, September 10th. So we're so proud of him in many ways. He has turned out just amazing. He's been working on helping immigrants with ICE, and he actually works also in our nursery. He's a wonderful young man. And Dave C., he lit a candle of joy. Dave said, I've been attending an apple and cheese communion at Birmingham UU Church in Michigan. I was converted to being a UU for life in record time, 5 minutes, and I've been one for 40 years. Ken A., he lit a candle of joy because next weekend he'll be hosting 15 Arnolds from across the country. This Ken Arnold, okay, not individual names, name Arnold. So, have fun, Ken. Let's see here. All right, and Rachel, she lit a candle of hope. She says, my 11-year-old Evan and his initial special education meeting on Wednesday, may we find some structures to help him succeed. Amen. All right, and Melanie lit a candle of joy because today is Prasan and hers 29th anniversary. Yay. There's Prasan and Melanie is somewhere. There's no. And they also lit a candle of joy because their exchange daughter, Lena, over there, is here from Germany for after 11 years of living in the U.S. And Light B, she lit a candle of sorrow. She said, love, joy, and peace and harmony with my neighbors. Perfect health for my husband. Please let that be true. All right, now I'd like to read those out for those that are online. If you ever see me looking at my phone, I am actually talking to the Zoomers. I'm not scrolling Facebook. Just want to point that out. Okay, so as Denny, who was here yesterday, Denny, it was so good to see you. Today, or yesterday, was Bob Melville's 98th, or would have been his 98th birthday yesterday. We miss Bob every day. For those of you who didn't know Bob, he had the best attitude of anybody I've ever met. He was amazing. Sarah J., our administrator, she says, please light a candle of joy and gratitude for the resilience of the tiny people in my life. Her grandson had a big fall and he bounced right back. So Barbara S., she says, please light a candle because her family welcomed their newest member, Samuel James, on August 26th. Right on. And Francie C., she says, kudos to Maria and Ella for coming to the rescue with a plumbing issue here yesterday. I had no idea. Thank you. Yes, thank you so much. And then let's see here. And then Cara, she wrote, she says, I'm very grateful that my boyfriend joined me for this service as we are celebrating 6 months of recovery together today. Woo! She says, thank you, Richard, for growing with me through these challenging times. And Francie C. also would like a candle lit. She says, today is the anniversary of my mom's passing. Miss her always. Yeah. All right. Let us hold and love all the joys and celebrations, as well as all the hurts and sadness, whether they were spoken or remain silent in our hearts. Let our joys remind us to be thankful, our concerns remind us to hope, and our sorrows remind us to connect with one another. Let all these moments remind us that we are not alone. I invite you to join Lori in a spirit of prayer.
Spirit of life, source of love that flows through all things, we pause to breathe in the truth of the center of our faith, that love is stronger than fear, deeper than difference, wider than any boundary we might draw. We give thanks for the love that has carried us here, the love of those who built this community before us, the love of friends who hold us in times of joy and sorrow, the love that calls us to justice, and the love that heals us when we falter. May love guide our choices, shape our words, and open our hearts. And when the work of love feels too heavy, may we remember we do not carry it alone. We are held in a circle of care, woven together, called always back to love. Amen.
And I forgot to write one for the flowers. Those are to commemorate Joel and I's 19th anniversary as of Wednesday. He's really sweet. Let us join together as we extinguish the flame of our chalice and say together, until we are together again. Thank you for joining us this morning. If you're a guest, a visitor, or someone who has not yet been known to us, I invite you to become a part of this beloved community. If you would like to know more about our church, we invite you to either stop by the welcome table, it's one of those many that are out there today, in the courtyard, or contact us at hello@ocuc.org, and we will help you get connected. Zoomers are welcome to stay after and speak with each other in the chat. I hear that goes on for a very long time. It's good. We want everyone to find the happiness that we have found here in our fellowship. So please reach out and we'll reach right back to you.
All right, you notice on every Sunday we have up here all of these announcements of things that are going on, coming up either today or next week, or big projects, all that sort of thing. But that is only the tip of the iceberg of what goes on here at this church. And what we've got today is this open house. In the spirit of this open house is like every program, everything that's going on in this church is out there for you to explore, to sign up for things. This is actually the beginning of our church year. We kind of the choir takes a hiatus for the summer, so like this is their first time actually on a Sunday singing and everything, so they do great. And it's never too late to join the choir, by the way. So, but there's lots of things for you to explore, to sign up for if you would like, or just take home information out there. We've got a number of things coming up, so we're going to be starting up our sermon discussion groups. So this is where people go deeper into the topic of the sermon. They meet a week or two after the sermon, and I give an outline, so if you miss it, don't worry about it. You can actually get an outline of everything. Those are online. A lot of our things are online so that those who are homebound or who have kids or whatever is that they can participate as well. So the sermon discussion group's coming up there. Tony, you met Tony. He and his wife lit the chalice. Tony is going to be offering a class on finding your life purpose. It's going to be an introduction to life coaching. He is a certified life coach. So there's information about that up there. I'm going to teach a class on our shared values. These are actually somewhat new to us. We just voted them in last year, so we're going to be exploring them in a theological kind of context. What do they mean to me? All that sort of thing. So that's going to be a lot of fun. We've got a strummers group and something called Rhythm for the Soul. Okay, there's another wonderful person here you all need to know. His name is James, James and Kayla are over here. If you guys have any mystical interest, you got to talk to these people. These two are mystics at heart, and they're working with Susan to create this wonderful time to basically move as gently or as wildly as you want. And it's an absolutely wonderful thing. So that's called Rhythm for the Soul, and you'll find out more information at our music table about that. So now, of course, we also try to do things that are for social justice, and this is one of the things we're going to be exploring this year, or something we want to take on. We here in the building that was here before, we housed Ukrainians for over a year. We've done all sorts of things, an environmental film festival. We've done all sorts of things. If you have a passion, let me know, because I will help you make it happen. But one of the things right now that we're working with Arliss Reynolds as well, of the city council, is helping local families that have been affected by local ICE raids. So the idea is if you can bring items to church, and there's a table out there as well about it. They're actually gathering items. They bring them every 2 weeks to IKEA's parking lot. And then they have people who are vetted who will go to the families that are living in terror right now and help them and give them those very needed supplies and food. So you can learn more about it by getting a sheet of paper and then bring stuff in the next couple of weeks to help out with that. And if you want to get more involved, just talk to Jazzy. Is Jazzy here? Or is it? She's already out there at the table. Talk to Jazzy and she can tell you how to get involved and all of that. So, all right, everyone, that's it. Let's have some fun. There's also going to be absolutely yummy, yummy food, so stick around. We've got coffee, don't worry. That's one of our big things. We got to have coffee. All right, remember, we need not think alike to love alike. Let us sing our recessional song. service is over. Let our service continue. Please enjoy. Let's open those doors open wide.